University Challenge News versus Writers. Asking the questions, Jeremy Paxman.
Hello, this is the third and final match in a short series of friendlies. Our four teams are all at the pinnacle of their chosen professions, but we're delighted they've left the day job to entertain us by tackling the kind of questions we normally put to younger minds. The first time we saw the news team, they beat four, frankly, rather badly behaved politicians by a margin of 75 points. We refused their entirely predictable demand for a recount. Let's meet the victorious news team again.
Kate Adie, I'm a broadcaster who strayed into writing.
Nick Robinson from BBC News, a sort of poor man's Andrew Marr.
And their captain?
Michael Burke, television reporter, former newscaster, been around so long, occasionally described as a distinguished journalist, one of the great oxymorons of our time.
And I'm Bridget Kendall, BBC diplomatic correspondent.
Now, people who work with words have perhaps a natural advantage in a contest like this, and last time our team of writers beat a group of actors by 80 points, despite failing to identify some of the most celebrated lines by Keats and the fact that they didn't seem to wake up until halfway through the match. Let's meet the writers again.
Hi, my name's Tony Marchant. I'm a television dramatist and sometime playwright.
Hello, I'm Andrew Davis, and mostly I adapt classic fiction for television.
And their captain.
Hello, my name's Iain Banks, and I'm a novelist.
And I'm Jimmy McGovern, and I'm a writer, and I come from Merseyside.
You don't need reminding, I'm sure, that starter questions are solo efforts on the buzzer, bonuses are team efforts. There's a 5-point penalty for incorrect interruptions to starter questions. Fingers on the buzzer. Here's your first starter for 10. What word is traditionally never spoken on the island of Portland off the Dorset coast?
News 80.
Rabbit.
Very good. Because it can cause landslips, and it's a quarrying region, of course. Right, you get the first set of bonuses. They're on quotations. To which words of Rousseau was Émile Faguet referring when he said, "It would be equally correct to say that sheep are born carnivorous and everywhere they nibble grass"?
I only know Rousseau on education. I didn't know it on anything else.
We are stumped.
Right, man is born free and everywhere he's in chains.
Everywhere in chains.
I did say it.
Right, 5 points for this. In a work published in 1925, which Prague-born German novelist wrote, "It is often safer to be in chains than to be free"?
Prague-born German novelist.
Prague-born,
Yes, Prague-born German novelist.
Kafka.
Come on.
Born in 25.
Kafka?
We think Kafka.
You're right. Which artist said in 1995, "It's amazing what you can do with an E in A-level art, a twisted imagination and a chainsaw"?
We think Damien Hirst.
Correct. 10 points for this. Not personally performed by a monarch since Easter 1685, which act of contrition was traditionally part of the royal Maundy ceremony, along with the handing out of Maundy money, and was known by the Latin name pedilavium?
Writers Banks.
Washing the feet of the poor.
That's correct, of the Maundy money recipient. Your bonuses are on a fruit, then, you writers. Firstly, for 5 points, often baked in a case of bread or sponge cake, which hot fruit pudding is said to have been named after either the wife of George III or the daughter of George IV?
Hot fruit pudding. Princess Bessie, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure. Betty Keep? Paddington? God, I don't know. Try something Betty. See how that goes.
Betty cake.
No, it's apple charlotte.
Yeah.
Shelled apple was formerly a widely used country name for which common brightly plumed songbird found in hedgerows and farmland where it builds a nest of grasses decorated with lichen.
Brightly plumed songbird. Chaffinch.
Come on.
Chaffinch.
Correct. Shaw's 1929 work, The Apple Cart, pillories which politician representing him as Proteus, leader of a so-called socialist government, under the covert control of industrialists?
Ramsay MacDonald.
Correct. 10 points for this. His work uncovers the precipice under everyday prattle and forces entry into oppression's closed...
Writers Marchant.
Pinter.
Harold Pinter is right. That's the citation for his Nobel Prize. And your bonuses are on perdition. The Road to Perdition was a 2002 film set in Chicago in the 1930s and made by which British director?
Sam Mendes, isn't it? Sam Mendes.
Correct. Which of Shakespeare's title characters says of his wife as she exits, "Perdition catch my soul, but I do love thee"?
Othello.
Correct. In which play by Sheridan does Mr. Puff give the same line, "Perdition catch my soul, but I do love thee," to a character in his drama about the Spanish Armada who defends himself by saying, "Two people happen to hit upon the same thought, and Shakespeare made use of it first, that's all"?
The Rivals.
No, it's The Critic. 10 points for this. Here is the armed, sinister figure of today and tomorrow. No humanity, only the terrible Frankenstein's monster we have made ourselves into. This is Jacob Epstein's description of which of his mechanical sculptures, the robot-like figure that became a celebrated work of early British modernism.
Writers Davis.
Is it Bale?
No, anybody want to buzz from the news? No, it's the rock drill. 10 points for this. According to Roland Barthes, which political creed has, quote, two kinds? One which is always subterraneously authoritative and paternalistic on the side of one's good conscience, and then one which is more ethical than political. One would have to find another name for this, something like a profound suspension of judgment.
Writers Banks.
Socialism.
No, anyone to buzz from the news?
News Robinson.
Communism.
No, it's liberalism. 10 points for this. Who or what is addressed as a saucy, pedantic wretch in lines by John Donne, which continue, "Go, chide late schoolboys..."
Writers Davis.
Oh, gone. No, it's gone.
I'm sorry.
Not The Flea.
I'm sorry, yeah, it's not. You're going to lose 5 points too. In lines by John Donne, which continue, "Go chide late schoolboys and sour apprentices, go tell court huntsmen that the king will ride, call country ants to harvest offices." No idea? It's the sun in The Sun Rising. 10 points for this. What word can mean to draw off wine from the lees? A frame for holding animal fodder, a cogged or toothed bar or rail engaging with a wheel or pinion, and a joint of lamb that includes...
News Burke.
Rack.
Well done. Right, your bonuses are on unusual words from the 2005 collection The Meaning of Tingo by Adam Jacot de Boinois. Kummerspeck is a German word which describes the excess weight gained from what?
Kammerspeck? Speck is bacon.
Eating meat.
What?
Eating pork. Eating meat, pork.
No, it's comfort eating. Baku Shan in Japanese indicates a person who looks better from behind than from the front, a concept sometimes expressed in English by the acronym BOBFOC. For what do the letters BOBFOC stand?
Does my bubble look big in this?
It should be in the dark with the light behind her. But
BOBFOC.
Better off.
Bob Fock.
BOBFOC.
FOC.
Yeah.
Better off behind.
Behind or something. Behind and front. Is it behind or better?
Then no, you can't have a then.
No, I'll put you out of your misery. It's body off Baywatch, face off Crime Watch. And finally, spoken on the Adriatic coast, which Indo-European language isolate is said to have 27 separate expressions for moustache?
It'd be civic.
Albanian. Adriatic coast. Albanian, I'd guess.
Civic, right?
Yeah. No, Albanian.
Albanian.
Albanian is right. What a strange thing to know. Right, we're going to take a picture round now. For your picture starter, you're going to see a work shortlisted by Radio 4's Today programme in a competition to find the greatest painting in Britain. 10 points if you can give me the name of the artist and the title of the painting. Nobody has a clue, do they?
Writers Davis.
Well, it's Vermeer, and it's The Married Couple.
No, anybody want to buzz from the news? I'll tell you, it's Jan van Eyck and the Arnolfini marriage. Right, picture bonuses in a moment or two. 10 points for the starter question. Arnel de Guzman, a student from Manila, hit the headlines in May 2000 when he was held responsible for which computer virus labelled the love bug by the media? It was the I love you bug. 10 points for this. Which American film director and actor who died in 1985 described the RKO studio in which he worked as the biggest electric train set?
Writer's Banks.
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles is right. So you get the picture bonuses. 3 more works of art from the Radio 4 shortlist. 5 points if you can give me the name of the artist and the title of the work. Firstly.
This is in the Scottish Museum, and God. It's Reverend So-and-so skating by some famous portrait writer. I don't know. Whistler.
That's the kind of precision we appreciate in a writer, really. Now, that's Henry Raeburn's The Reverend Robert Walker skating on Duddingston Loch. As you say, it is one of the most famous paintings in Scotland. Secondly...
Oh, God. Do you know who the artist might be? Titian? No, it's too early. Well, we're stumped.
That's Piero della Francesca's Baptism of Christ. And finally, name the artist and tell me the title of the series from which this work comes.
Rake's Progress? Hogarth, Rake's Progress.
Correct. 10 points for this. Named by Roderick Murchison after an ancient British people of South Wales, what geological period of the Paleozoic era followed the Ordovician period and extended...
News 80.
Cambrian.
No, you lose 5 points and extended until the beginning of the Devonian period. You may not confer, one of you may buzz, you writers.
Writer's Banks.
Devonian, sorry.
No, I just told you.
You just said that, didn't you? Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes,
I don't know why it popped into my head.
The Silurian period. 10 points for this. Which Olympic event has only ever been held once at the Paris Games in 1900, when between them the gold, silver and bronze medalists took more than 50 lives? You may not confer.
Writer's McGovern.
I was going to say shooting, that's wrong.
Do you want to be more specific?
Shooting a cannon.
No, anyone to buzz from the news? I'll tell you, it's live pigeon shooting. 10 points for this. What word can mean a projection on an object by which it may be carried or fixed, a colloquial name for an ear, and a type of worm living in muddy sand?
News Burke.
Lug.
Lug is right. Your bonuses are on an astronomer. Which British radio astronomer wrote in The Individual and the Universe in 1959, the pursuit of good and evil are now linked in astronomy, as in almost all science. The fate of human civilization will depend on whether the rockets of the future carry the astronomer's telescope or a hydrogen bomb.
Fred Hoyle, I suppose. Only astronomer could... Yeah, Fred Hoyle.
No, it was Bernard Lovell. Bernard Lovell moved his ex-army mobile radar unit out to Jodrell Bank in Cheshire after finding his work in the centre of Manchester suffered from interference from what?
The light from the city, possibly?
It's a radio telescope. It's a radio telescope.
Radio telescope.
So we would have to do something
Television, radio?
Television.
Yeah. Broadcasting.
No, it was the electric trams on Oxford Road, apparently. Lovell was the driving force behind the construction of the Mark I Jodrell Bank, the world's first large radio telescope, which became operational in 1957, enabling it to track which artificial satellite launched on October the 4th of that year.
Sorry, the year was again? The year again?
1957.
57. This is Sputnik.
It must be Sputnik.
Sputnik. What's that the Telstar? 57.
Come on.
Sputnik.
Sputnik 1 is right. 10 points for this. In which novel by Neville Shute is the depressed settlement of Willstown in northern Australia transformed by the heiress...
News Burke.
On the beach.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. The heiress Jean Paget.
Writer's McGovern.
It's a high wind in Jamaica.
No, it's a town like Alice. 10 points for this. Who is being described? Born with the surname Hawkins in Los Angeles in 1938, her stage name was created by the R&B pianist Johnny Otis, who reversed the syllables of her forename. In 1967, she recorded Tell Mama, I Would Rather Go Blind, and At Last. She also recorded the Muddy Waters song I Just Want to Make Love to You.
Writer's Marchant.
Etta James.
Etta James is right, yes. Your bonuses are on lost cities. In which modern African country is the city of Leptis Magna, the birthplace of the Emperor Septimus Severus in 193, but abandoned by the early Byzantine period?
Tunisia. Tunisia?
No, it's Libya. Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, which flourished during the 3rd millennium BCE, were cities of a civilization named after which major Asian river?
Yangtze.
No, it's the Indus. Ctesiphon, the capital of the Parthian and Sassanid kings, is situated on the river Tigris 30 kilometres south of which modern capital city?
Baghdad. Baghdad.
Baghdad is right. We're going to take an audio round. For your audio starter, you're going to hear the voice of an American-born poet. 10 points if you can name him.
May I, for my own self, songs to root reckon, journeys, jargon, how I in harsh days hard.
Writer's Banks.
Walt Whitman.
No. Do you want to hear a bit more news? You may not confer. You may hear a little more.
Cured of bitter breast cares have I abided.
News Candle.
Ezra Pound.
It is Ezra Pound reading from his translation of The Seafarer. OK, audio bonus is 3 more American poets, in each case reading from their own work. I want you to give me the name of the poet each time, please. Firstly for 5.
I knew, too, that through them. I knew, too, that he was through. I knew, too, that he threw them. I knew, too, that they were through. I knew, too, I knew, too, I knew them. I knew, too, them. If they tear a hunter through, if they tear through a hunter, if they tear through a hunt and a hunter, if they tear through the different sizes of the 6, the different sizes of the 6 which are these: a woman with a white package under one arm and a black package under the other arm, and dressed in brown with a white blouse.
Gertrude Stein.
It was her Valentine for Sherwood Anderson. Secondly.
By the road to the contagious hospital, under the surge of the blue, mottled clouds driven from the northeast, a cold wind. Beyond, the waste of broad, muddy fields, brown with dried weeds, standing and fallen. Patches of standing water, the scattering of tall trees. All along the road, the reddish, purplish, forked, upstanding, twiggy stuff of bushes and small trees.
Frost or Steinbeck?
Come on, Frost or Steinbeck.
Robert Frost.
That was William Carlos Williams. And finally.
Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near.
We think this one is Robert Frost.
That is Robert Frost, yes. Right, 10 points for this. They shall not pass, and it is better to die on your feet than live on your knees are among the slogans popularised by which Spanish communist who founded the Anti-Fascist Women's League and wrote under the pen name La Pasión...
News 80.
Rosa Luxemburg.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. La Pasionara. If you want to buzz any of you writers, you may not confer. No idea. It's Isadora Dolores Ibarruri. Right, 10 points for this. What 3-letter word did Ambrose Bierce define as affected with a high degree of intellectual independence?
Writers Davis.
Ego?
No. You may not confer. One of you can buzz. No idea. It's mad. 10 points for this. Which year saw the theft of the Mona Lisa, the siege of Sydney Street, the Agadir crisis, the founding of the Republic of China, the birth of Tennessee Williams?
News Robinson.
1949.
Nope. Lose 5 points. Birth of Tennessee Williams and the death of Gustav Mahler. You may not confer. One of you may buzz.
Writers Davis.
1933.
No, it's 1911. 10 points for this. Some saw her as, quote, a young, talented and ambitious woman caught up in the tide of events which she did not fully realise. Others as a cold and opportunist propagandist and a Nazi by association. To which filmmaker who died in...
News Kendall.
Lisa Wiesenthal.
No, you lose 5 points. To which filmmaker who died in September 2003 do these remarks refer?
Writers Banks.
Leni Riefenstahl.
Leni Riefenstahl is correct, yes. Your bonuses are on syndromes. Firstly, for 5 points, also called Lilliput's sight, which syndrome is named after a fictional character and causes its sufferers to see objects or people as much larger or smaller than they really are. It's often associated with a migraine headache.
Fictional Gulliver syndrome? Gulliver
No,
syndrome?
it's Alice in Wonderland syndrome, apparently.
Oh,
Which
of course,
fictional character gives his name to a syndrome which causes patients to gain hospital admission via deception or feigning illness in order to satisfy a desire to receive attention?
Munchausen.
Munchausen is right. The neurological disorder, also known as alien hand or anarchic hand syndrome, is named after which eponymous film character in whom the condition causes him to give involuntary Nazi salutes and throttle himself?
Dr. Strangelove.
Syndrome. Correct. Right, we're going to take another picture round now. For your picture starter, you're going to see a section of the Bayeux tapestry. For 10 points, I would like you to name the type of shield depicted in the tapestry.
Right as Banks.
Teardrop shield.
I will accept teardrop. Yes, it's sometimes known as the teardrop shield. It's more commonly known as the kite shield, apparently. So you'll be delighted to know you get picture bonuses, 3 more types of shield to identify. Here's the first.
Well, it's got a big spike coming out of it.
Wasn't this Asian or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Chinese? What's it called? Chinese?
Chinese shield.
No, it's a Taj shield.
Oh, right.
T-A-R-G-E. Secondly, for 5.
Oh, dear.
Come on.
Roman.
No, it's a tower shield. And finally, this.
Any thoughts?
No, disc.
Let's have an answer.
Disc shield.
No, that's a buckler used in hand-to-hand fighting in the Middle Ages, apparently. Right, 10 points for this. Flying Officer X was a wartime pen name of which novelist, author of The Jacaranda Tree, Fair Stood the Wind for France, and The Darling Buds of May?
Right as Davis.
H.E. Betts.
Correct. Here are your bonuses. They're on a phrase. Firstly, in the mid-1940s, the French composer Charles Trenet wrote La Mer, which became a UK top 10 hit for Bobby Darin in 1960 under what title?
Beyond the Sea.
Beyond the Sea.
Correct. History of Deeds Done Beyond the Sea is an account of the Latin East from 614 to 1184 by which politician and churchman born to a Frankish family in Syria in the 12th century? No?
Not the Thorgest, sorry.
William of Tyre. And finally, quote, I travelled among unknown men in lands beyond the sea, nor England did I know till then what love I bore to thee. Which British poet wrote these lines in the Lucy poems?
Wordsworth.
Correct. 10 points for this. Which tissue of the body is characterised by Haversian canals and osteocytes?
Right as McGovern.
Tears.
No, anyone to buzz from the news team? No, it's bone. 10 points for this. Populated by polygamous Christians, the fictional African country of Ishmaelia is the setting for which novel by Evelyn Waugh?
Right as Davis.
Scoop. Scoop is right. Here are your bonuses. They're on publications by England cricket captains. Firstly, for 5, which England captain wrote the acclaimed 1985 work, The Art of Captaincy?
Mike Brearley.
Correct. The Spirit of Fascism and Cricket Tours, published in the Bulletin of the British Union of Fascists, was the work of which figure, Captain of England from 1924 to 25, and later MCC President?
Douglas Jardine.
No, it was Arthur Gilligan. Opening Up is an autobiography by which batsman who captained England in 54 tests from 1993?
Gavin? Michael Atherton.
Mike Atherton is correct. 3.5 minutes to go, 10 points for this. Nick Carter was perceived as the American counterpart of which English detective created by Hal Meredith in the 1890s, but later taken over by other writers, including Peter Cheney?
Right as Marchant.
Sexton Blake.
Correct. Your bonuses are on nicknames. What is the nickname of the Naval and Military Club in London, taken from the lettering found on the gateposts of its former home at 94 Piccadilly?
Is that the in and out club or something?
The In and Out Club.
It is the In and Out. The Out Islands is a term for the larger number of which islands in the Western Hemisphere, a British colony until 1973? Come on.
The Azores.
No, it's the Bahamas. An Outcast of the Islands and Almayer's Folly were the first two books by which novelist born in Eastern Europe in 1857?
Joseph Conrad.
Correct, 10 points for this, 2.5 minutes to go. What amount in grams derives from the experiments performed by Dr. Duncan McDougall in 1907 into the supposed weight of the human soul? The amount featured in the title of a 2000...
Writer's Banks.
21 grams.
21 grams is right. Your bonuses are on a market town. Which Shropshire market town lies between the earthworks of Offa's Dyke and Watts Dyke and was the birthplace in 1893 of the poet Wilfred Owen?
Shrewsbury?
No, it's Oswestry. Oswestry was also the birthplace in 1869 of Sir Henry Walford Davis, who from 1934 to 41 was the holder of which position?
Master of the Queen's Music.
Master of the Queen's Music?
Master of the King's Music is correct. Born in Oswestry in 1913, which novelist was the author of A Glass of Blessings, Quartet in Autumn and Excellent Women?
Given.
That was Barbara Pym. 10 points for this. Derived from the Greek, what word can be used for a dull, greyish green or blue colour and also to mean covered with a powdery bloom like that on grapes? No, that's glaucous. 10 points for this starter question. Which event, which took place on June the 15th, 1215, is surprisingly omitted from Shakespeare's The Life and Death of King John?
Writer's McGovern.
Signing of Magna Carta.
That's correct, yes. Your bonuses are on gorges. The Carres Gorge separates the central and western massifs of which Spanish mountain range?
Sierra Nevada or...
Come on.
Sierra Nevada?
No, it's the Picos de Europa. Which gorge in Western England is the location of Goff's Cave, in which a complete 9,000-year-old human skeleton was found in 1903?
Cheddar Gorge.
Correct. The Samaria Gorge is a major scenic attraction of which Mediterranean island?
Oh, is it Crete? Crete.
Crete is correct. 10 points for this starter question. Both published in 2005. Nicholas Rowe's Fiery Heart and The Wit in the Dungeon by Anthony Holden are biographies of which poet and essayist caricatured as the charming sponger Harold Skimpole in Dickens's Bleak House and best known as an actor gone. The News have 45, the writing of 190. Well, you never really got a chance to get going there, did you?
They're too good.
Anyone to say in mitigation?
It would only look like pathetic excuse me.
Well, it would only be whining.
That's very
anyway.
noble of you, and I think it's very much in the spirit of the game, which is, after all, only a game. But right, 190 is a very, very good score indeed.
Not bad.
Congratulations.
Little Jimmy can't see it, by the way. All you can see is, like, you know, it's a blur.
Only answered one anyway. No difference.
No, you did very, very well, and thank you all of you very much for taking part. I hope you've enjoyed these three programmes. I hope you'll join us with the series proper. But until then, it's goodbye from the news.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from the writers.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Engage with language in a brand new way with a brand new series. Victoria Corran leads a national word hunt with Balderdash and Piffle. Next. And then, we've been waiting for this. Written by Armando Iannucci and starring Chris Langham and Peter Capaldi. Brilliant satire, the thick of it, at 10. There's a taster just coming.